Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to lean in a little closer, because what I'm about to share with you has the potential to revolutionize the way you approach food, energy, and ultimately your destiny. You see, there's a powerful truth that too many people miss, and it's this: what you put in your mouth doesn't just feed your body, it fuels your future. I'm not here to lecture you about calories, carbs, or cholesterol. I'm here to open your eyes to the fact that every bite you take is either helping your brain rise into peak performance or slowly dragging it into decline. You must learn to eat with your brain in mind, because the quality of your thoughts, your focus, your creativity, your memory, your resilience, all of it, is deeply connected to what you consume. And if your brain is the engine driving your life, then why would you pour sugar water into a Ferrari? Ladies and gentlemen, the world will try to sell you comfort food that leads to a very uncomfortable life. It will try to convince you that pleasure in the moment is worth the price of your productivity, your peace, and your potential. But I'm here to tell you the truth. Your brain is your most valuable asset. You can lose everything else and still rebuild if your mind is sharp, your thinking is clear, and your judgment is sound. But if your mind goes, everything else will crumble. That's why we must elevate the way we eat, not just to live longer, but to live better, to lead with clarity, and to create lives that reflect the brilliance we were born to express. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went in there? Have you ever had a foggy day where your brain just couldn't focus, where your energy was low, and your motivation was missing in action? That wasn't a random accident. That wasn't just aging. That was inflammation. That was blood sugar. That was neurotransmitters starving for the right nutrients. You see, we've been taught to eat for our waistline, but now it's time to eat for our mind. Because when your brain is operating at a high frequency, you speak better, you sell better, you lead better, and you live better. Everything improves when the mind is functioning as it was divinely designed to. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand the biological truth that your brain is 60% fat. That's right, it is a fatty organ, and it demands high-quality fat to function at a high level. When you starve your brain of omega-3s, you sabotage your emotional balance, your cognitive clarity, and your mental stamina. But when you nourish it with wild, caught fish, chia seeds, flaxseed oil, walnuts, and avocados, you're not just feeding your hunger, you're feeding your destiny. You are empowering the most sophisticated organ in the known universe to do its job at a level the average person never gets to experience. Now, I know some people still think that food is just about not gaining weight or looking good in the mirror. But hear me, there are people walking around every day, appearing healthy, but inside their brain is slowly breaking down. Their memory is slipping, their attention is fragmented, and their emotional state is reactive and unstable, and they don't even know why. It's because their diet is high in processed garbage, artificial additives, sugar-laden snacks, and toxic oils. It's because they are feeding their tongue instead of feeding their brain, and that's not just bad health. That's bad stewardship. You are either feeding your future or fueling your failure. The choice is yours. You've got to think of food like software updates for your brain. The right nutrients upgrade your operating system. Antioxidants protect your mental hardware. B vitamins energize your mind. Magnesium calms your nerves. Vitamin D lights up your mood, and water. Yes, water is not just about hydration. It's the conductor of brain electricity. Dehydrated brains are sluggish brains. So when you start your day with caffeine and skip the water, you'll jump. Starting your car with no oil in the engine, that's not wise and that's not sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not powerless. You are not a victim of your cravings. You are not bound by your habits. You have the power to rewire your taste buds, retrain your mind, and realign your life. But it begins with awareness, it begins with intention, it begins when you stop seeing food as comfort or entertainment and start seeing it as strategic fuel for your mission. You wouldn't put cheap gas in a jet engine and expect to soar, would you? So why would you put chemically engineered nutrient, dead brain, draining junk into the very vessel responsible for your decisions, your dreams, and your direction? You see, the enemy of greatness is not always destruction, it's distraction. And poor nutrition is a silent distraction that steals your focus, kills your energy, and clouds your thinking. You don't even know how powerful you could be until you start feeding your brain what it truly needs. Imagine waking up with clarity, attacking your day with purpose, handling stress with ease, and communicating with power, all because you chose to fuel your mind like a master and not like a slave to impulses. That's not fantasy, that's physiology. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to the achievers, the builders, the visionaries. You cannot afford to eat like the average person if you expect to perform like the exceptional. You cannot run $1 million business on a dollar menu brain. Excellence in output demands excellence in input. So if you want ideas that flow, creativity that sparks, and discipline that sticks, you've got to feed the fire, not smother it. That means high-quality protein to stabilize blood sugar. That means leafy greens to flush toxins and fuel your cells. That means berries, not candy, for your sweet cravings, because one supports your brain and the other sedates it. And let me be clear, it's not about perfection. It's about progression. It's not about rigid diets. It's about wisdom and awareness. It's about realizing that food is not moral, it's informational. Every bite sends a message to your genes, your hormones, and your brain. Are you sending messages of strength, growth, and power, or messages of fatigue, fog, and dysfunction? The answers are found in your habits, and your habits are the invisible architecture of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we must reject the lie that mental decline is inevitable. We must reject the lie that fatigue is normal. We must reject the lie that aging means surrendering your mind to the slow fade of dysfunction. Your brain is adaptable, it is resilient, it is plastic, and when you feed it what it needs, you unlock the brilliance that was lying dormant inside you all along. You don't need a miracle, you need minerals. You don't need motivation, you need magnesium. You don't need therapy, you need tryptophan. So stop looking for shortcuts and start looking at your plate. Let's get practical. Start the day with protein, not sugar. Start your morning with eggs, nuts, seeds, or a smoothie full of greens, not pastries and caffeine bombs. Your first meal sets your biochemical tone for the entire day. Snack on almonds instead of chips. Trade soda for water infused with lemon or cucumber. Eat dark chocolate with 80% cacao instead of candy. Use olive oil instead of canola oil. Add turmeric and black pepper to your meals. It's a natural anti-inflammatory for your brain. These small changes stack up, and suddenly you're thinking clearer, sleeping deeper, creating faster, and living better. And don't forget the gut. Your brain and your gut are in constant communication. If your gut is inflamed, your brain is suffering. So eat fermented foods, feed your microbiome, avoid artificial sweeteners that scramble your gut, brain axis, listen to your body, and respect the signals it's sending you. If something makes you tired, foggy, or anxious after you eat it, that's not food, that's sabotage, and you have the power to say no. Ladies and gentlemen, your future depends on what you're willing to change today. If your mind is a garden, then food is the water, the sunlight, and the soil. What are you planting? What are you growing? What kind of harvest are you expecting? You cannot expect to reap brilliance while sowing mediocrity. You cannot expect a legacy of wisdom with a diet of chemicals. You cannot lead people to greatness while poisoning the very organ responsible for your leadership. You've got to rise above convenience. You've got to rise above culture. You've got to rise into consciousness, because eating with your brain and mind isn't just about you. It's about your children watching you. It's about your team depending on you. It's about your mission requiring the best version of you. When you eat with your brain and mind, you're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to energy. You're saying yes to purpose. And you're saying no to the silent killers of distraction, depression, and decay. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. No more excuses. No more delay. No more pretending like it doesn't matter. What you eat is a vote for who you become. Every bite is either building the bridge to your brilliance or breaking it down. So I challenge you, eat like your dreams depend on it. Eat like your calling depends on it. Eat like your mind is a masterpiece, because it is. And if you begin today, right now, with one powerful decision to feed your brain instead of just your appetite, then you will set in motion a transformation that will ripple into every area of your life. Energy will rise, clarity will increase, creativity will flow, discipline will return, and you will become the kind of person that others look at and say, "What changed?" And you'll be able to smile and say, "I started eating with my brain in mind." Let us go even deeper into this truth, because transformation does not happen at the surface level. It happens when truth penetrates your spirit, when a revelation becomes a revolution inside your daily habits. When I say eat with your brain in mind, I'm not talking about some temporary fix or trendy diet. I'm talking about a permanent shift in identity. I'm talking about becoming the kind of person who honors their divine potential by fueling their brain with wisdom, not weakness. This is not about willpower, this is about awareness, and awareness breeds alignment. Let me tell you something that may shock you. The biggest decisions of your life, the way you handle your money, your relationships, your career, your health, all of them are influenced by the food you eat. Because food affects your hormones. Hormones affect your emotions, and your emotions affect your choices. When your brain is inflamed from processed junk, you react instead of respond. You give up instead of get up. You sabotage instead of sacrifice. But when your brain is nourished, you rise above emotion and operate from principle. You stop making decisions based on how you feel and start making decisions based on what you know. Do you know why some people never finish what they start? Do you know why they drift from one goal to the next, always tired, always unfocused, always chasing but never catching? It's not laziness, it's biochemistry. It's the result of poor fuel. Because when your dopamine receptors are fried from constant sugar spikes, the reward center in your brain goes numb. You can't feel excitement. You can't sustain effort. You're always looking for another hit, another snack, another scroll, another distraction, and it becomes a cycle of destruction wrapped in everyday habits. But the beautiful thing is this: what you broke through neglect, you can rebuild through discipline. Neuroplasticity is your ally. Your brain is not fixed. It is moldable. It is repairable. It is redeemable. But you've got to get intentional. You've got to become a student of your own biology. You've got to stop outsourcing your health to industries that profit from your confusion. There is no magic pill, there is no shortcut, there is only the simple, sacred truth: what you eat, you become. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about your emotional stability. Have you ever wondered why anxiety is rising, why depression is rampant, why mental fatigue is becoming normal? It's not just trauma, it's not just stress. It's the fact that people are malnourished in the land of abundance. We are overworked and undernourished. We're full of food, but starved of nutrients. And that starvation leads to emotional imbalance. Because serotonin, your feel-good hormone, is largely produced in your gut, your peace depends on your plate, and if your gut is damaged from toxic food, your mood will suffer. The enemy has done a good job convincing people that food is innocent. But food is not neutral. It is either creating order or causing chaos in your system. Think about that. Every meal you consume is either decreasing inflammation or increasing it, and inflammation is not just about pain in your joints. It's fire in your brain. It's brain fog, it's forgetfulness, it's fatigue. It's a thief in the night, robbing you of the sharpness you were born to walk in. And if you let that thief live in your house long enough, it will take everything. Now you might say, "But I'm too busy to cook healthy," or "healthy food is too expensive." Let me ask you, how expensive is a breakdown? How costly is lost time, lost energy, lost relationships, and lost dreams? You're either going to invest in prevention or pay for correction. You choose where the pain will come, but understand this: there is no success without energy, and there is no energy without clarity. And there is no clarity without brain health, and there is no brain health without nutrition. Ladies and gentlemen, when you eat with your brain in mind, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop outsourcing your well-being to convenience. You stop waiting for a diagnosis before you make a decision. You start living like your future matters. You begin to see that your mind is a sacred space. It is the birthplace of every idea, every invention, every breakthrough, every relationship, and every opportunity. Why wouldn't you protect that space? Why wouldn't you guard it like a fortress? Your taste buds can be retrained. Don't let them rule you. You were not made to be a slave to sugar. You were not created to be manipulated by fast food companies whose entire business model depends on your addiction to salt, sugar, and fat. You were made for more. You were made to lead, and leaders eat with purpose. They don't eat for pleasure alone. They eat for power, for purpose, and for performance. That doesn't mean food can't be enjoyable. It means enjoyment isn't the only filter, wisdom is. Let me be real with you. There is no success story that isn't supported by a healthy mind. Show me a consistent achiever, and I'll show you someone who honors their body. You cannot live an uncommon life with common habits. You cannot walk in excellence while eating for entertainment. You are either making deposits into your future or withdrawals from it. Every bite counts, every choice adds up, every day is a vote. So what are you voting for with your habits? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you of something profound. Your brain has the capacity to produce thoughts that can change nations. It has the ability to create solutions that can heal generations. But that level of thinking requires premium fuel. You can't expect world-class output with low-grade input. So be bold, be deliberate. Be disciplined, eat for clarity, eat for focus. Eat for love of yourself, your family, and your calling. And yes, food is spiritual, because when your brain is aligned, your spirit can move freely. When you're not clouded by cravings, you can hear your intuition more clearly. When your chemistry is balanced, your creativity flows without obstruction. And that's when you start operating not from hustle, but from harmony, not from striving, but from alignment. That's when the magic happens. Not magic outside of you, but the miracle of your own design fully activated. This is why we fast, not just to lose weight, but to reset the brain. This is why we eat clean, not for vanity, but for vitality. This is why we honor the body, because the mind cannot be free in a body that is sick. And a sick body is often the result of small compromises made consistently over time. But here's the good news. You can reverse the damage. You can take back control. You can eat your way into energy. You can eat your way into focus. You can eat your way into freedom. So start now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient, now. Drink water like your brain depends on it, because it does. Eat plants like your creativity depends on it, because it does. Cut the processed food like your peace depends on it, because it does. This isn't about being extreme. This is about being intentional. And if you can win this battle on your plate, you will start winning battles in every area of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, your life is not a product of luck. It's a reflection of your patterns. Change the pattern and you change the product. Change the product and you change your path. Change your path and you change your legacy. So take authority. Take responsibility. Look at that plate not with guilt but with gratitude. You have the power to choose. You have the power to change. You have the power to create a life of clarity, power, and peace. One bite at a time. Let your food become your foundation. Let your meals become your momentum. Let your nutrition become your non-negotiable. Because when you eat with your brain in mind, everything changes. The fog lifts, the energy rises, the thoughts sharpen, the focus returns, and you begin to remember who you really are, not a victim of cravings, but a vessel of greatness. Not a prisoner of patterns, but a producer of purpose. Not someone who eats to escape life, but someone who eats to elevate it. So let this be the day you draw a line in the sand. Let this be the day you stop settling for foggy thinking, for low energy, for mediocre performance. Let this be the day you rise up and say, no more junk, no more sabotage, no more pretending like food doesn't matter, because it does, and you do, you matter. Your mind matters, your life matters. And if you begin, ladies and gentlemen, if you start right now with the next bite, the next meal, the next day, your brain will thank you, your family will thank you, your purpose will thank you, and your future self will look back and say, that's when it all changed. That's when I started eating with my brain in mind, and that's when I started winning the game of life. As we bring this message to a close, I want you to understand something powerful. This was never just a speech about food. This was a call to awareness, a call to elevation, a call to honor the gift of your mind by fueling it with wisdom and intention. Your brain is not just an organ, it is your command center. It is the seat of your thoughts, your dreams, your focus, your faith, your discipline, your destiny. And when you eat with your brain in mind, you're not just making healthy choices. You're casting a vote for the life you were created to live. Every bite is a declaration. Every meal is a message. You are either telling your brain to rise or telling it to retreat. You are either awakening your potential or numbing it. You are either sharpening your sword or letting it rust. The quality of your future depends on the quality of your daily decisions. And food, real, living, nourishing food, is one of the most powerful decisions you make every single day. This is not about rules, this is about results, this is not about shame, this is about strategy. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be committed, one shift at a time, one upgrade at a time, one decision at a time, and soon your mind will be operating with clarity. Your body will be filled with energy, your emotions will be balanced, and your life will become a reflection of the brilliance that was always inside you, just waiting for you to feed it. So I leave you with this: never again eat for entertainment alone. Eat for enlightenment, eat for endurance, eat for excellence, because when you eat with your brain in mind, you are not just living, you are leading. You are not just surviving, you are succeeding. You are not just feeding your body, you are fueling your purpose. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how transformation begins.